Welcome to Women's Sports Weekly, where women's sports happen every day, but we talk about it once a week. I'm Danielle.
And I'm Carolyn. Women's Sports Weekly is a podcast where we discuss the latest news, explore interesting stories, and share our love for women's sports. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at WomensSportsWeeklyPod. Follow us and rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Send us an email at WomensSportsWeeklyPod@gmail.com, and we may feature your email on the Les. It is June, and you know what that means.
It's Pride Month.
Happy Pride.
Best month of the year, without a doubt.
Ooh, and our social calendar is just insane in June.
June and July are insane, but I'm just excited for Pride this year. I'm hoping we can do a few things throughout the month. I know June always goes so fast, but we need to be intentional about it and just celebrate Pride in different ways.
Like what?
Go to some drag brunches, go to events that support our community and be within our community.
What is your vibe for Pride this year?
To be free and to celebrate.
Awesome. Does free mean that you're going to be like nude?
No, you know that's not very freeing for me. That is just anxiety. No. What about you?
My vibe is joy. I want a lot of joy in June and a little bit of rebellion. I think the time is calling for it.
And what does that look like?
You know, not just all love is love, but maybe some action. Some action that can actually help others.
I like it.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to in June. And a lot of celebrating because this is our month. My sister sent me a Venmo today and it was for $9 and it said Pride. And I was like, is she paying me for Pride? And then I was like, that's not enough money. But it was because she ordered. So my sister uses my Amazon account. We do a lot of trading back and forth. And she ordered on my Amazon account a little pride flag for her house.
I love it. We need to get one out front.
I know. But love all the allies out there too. Thanks for joining us in Pride and go do some action as well.
Yes. This Thursday and every Thursday at 6 p.m., we will meet at the 99er Sports Bar for Run Club. We are back this week, excited to see you all there, and we hope there's some extra people there this month for Pride. Get some running in and drinking beers after. Speaking of beer, if you tell the bartenders a secret word each week when you listen to our podcast, you will get 50% off your first draft. And this week's word is dance.
We did a lot of dancing this past weekend, but I do love the idea of people coming to Run Club, especially for Pride.
I know, right?
We might need to do a Pride-themed Run Club.
Ooh, that's a great idea.
Looking at the calendar now, I think June 19th would work. Let's do a Pride run that night.
Yes, so get ready. If you're listening, gear up and mark your calendar for June 19th. We are going to do a Pride run.
And please come to Run Club. The secret word for this week is dance, and we did do a lot of dancing this past week. Why did we do so much dancing, Danielle?
Yeah, this past weekend we went to my cousin's wedding. It was a really beautiful wedding in Pennsylvania. It was really fun to celebrate them and be with my family and just dance. Like, I feel like I haven't danced like that in a while. They had a really awesome band at the wedding. Their voices, how many people do you think were in that band?
Probably 12.
It was a big band and they were incredibly talented.
They were so good. We had so much fun. It was one of the nicest weddings I've been to. It was just like beautiful from start to finish. And then it was also so much fun. Weddings in general, they fall into 3 categories, as do most things. You know when they're really, really bad, which we haven't had a lot of those at all. It's rare that they're very, very bad, and it's rare that they're very, very good. They're usually somewhere in the middle. It's so nice to be around the people, and it's so nice to see people in love, make such a public display of it, and they usually fall somewhere in the middle. But this was spectacular.
It was really, really nice. The food was great. The drinks were great. The overall atmosphere was great. The music, the dancing, everyone was in a great mood. I feel like vibes were high. All around a really fun time. The band even ended the night with Pink Pony Club. That was fun to dance to.
Yeah. This wasn't a gay wedding. Pink Pony Club is just universal. Everyone loves it. Yeah. So many dudes were hopping to Pink Pony Club.
Yeah,
arm in
all
arm.
Around. I mean, it is a great song, and the girl in the band who sang it was incredible. So that was a lot of fun, a lot of good dancing. Shout came on. You know, Shout is my absolute favorite wedding song.
It played at our wedding. So I don't like cheesy wedding songs.
I was going to say, I feel like you need to bring more energy the next time Shout comes on at a wedding.
I was doing well. There's some songs that really get me at weddings. Sweet Caroline was also played, and that one really sends me.
Sorry, you're the minority. Literally everyone in the room loves that song except for you.
However, whenever a live band is doing it, like anytime a live band is doing anything, I'm very happy. The few times we went and sat at the table, all I did was just turn my head and watch the band because I just love to watch live music. But yes, I do have a few songs that I'm like, oh boy, you know you're at a wedding when. And Shout is one of them. But because Shout makes you so happy, we did have it at our wedding as the final song. And it was wonderful. And it was wonderful the other night. It was also just really nice to be with your family, get a weekend with them. And it was just a nice week back on the East Coast, I thought.
We got to see both our families. I even played basketball with my dad this past week, which I went to go shoot around with him and was going to watch, and they were down a player. They only had 9 players. So I brought the average age of that group down by a lot.
And how many points did you score? Share it with our listeners.
I wasn't counting, but
it was so much you couldn't even count.
Carolyn, I will say I was hitting a lot of shots, and I think my dad's friends were impressed, and a few of them reached out to him the next day and was like, you know, I knew your daughter was good, but I didn't realize she was that good. So not to toot my own horn, but
to toot your own horn.
It was nice because I've been struggling since I've come back to play basketball. I feel like I haven't found my groove, and honestly, that was the best I've played this whole year since I started playing again. So it was just fun to play with them, and I did take a bad fall.
You did.
When I was playing, and the guy I hit into felt so bad, but I will say it was my fault because I tried to stop a fast break from happening, and this guy was basically a brick wall, and I bounced off of him and went flying and actually saw stars. The next 2 times I ran up and down the court, I thought I was going to puke. Like, I was so lightheaded and my whole right leg felt destroyed, and it took 2.5 days to feel normal again.
Well, 2.5 days is okay, but seeing stars is never okay. And we're just getting old.
Oh, I know. And again, I wasn't planning on playing. I was literally wearing running shoes and sweatpants. Okay. And we played 6 or 7 games. Yeah, anyways, going on a tangent here. But the reason I say it, playing with my dad, I used to play growing up. Sometimes the guys he would play with needed an extra hand, and he would always throw me in there if they needed people. But it's been years since I've played with him. So it was a lot of fun, and I was on the same team as him.
Yeah, that's a nice moment.
Yeah, I'm really happy that worked out the way it did. And just the whole week, it's great seeing your family and spending time with our niece and nephews, even though you always just say my niece and nephews. I'm claiming them as mine as well. Your family, your mom, we got to spend a lot of time with.
I got to see my sister win, and I didn't talk about it last week. I got to see her win a county championship in softball.
Yes.
So shout out to my sister and her high school softball team who took home the county championship for the 4th year in a row.
Insane.
Craziness. We usually don't go back to the East Coast this week, so it was a different week to be back and got to see different things, and the kids are just perfect. So.
Yeah. And we got to see some of our friends and their kids, and every time we see their kids, they're at the age where they just grow, like double in size every time you see them because they're so young. So it was really nice.
It was really nice. Does it make you want to move back?
Ooh, you're putting me on the spot here, and I don't think
on the record.
I don't think either of our families are going to like the answer that I have. So I'm going to keep my mouth shut. How about you?
I love being back, and yeah.
I will say, whenever we're home, I'm like, it would be nicer to be closer to our families. Like that piece, obviously, I miss, and that makes me want to be closer. Do I want to live in New Jersey, though? At this time in my life, I'm not there.
And like, you are playing basketball with a bunch of 50-year-old dudes here in Denver. You could pick your league.
Yeah, I'm in a league that I play once a week, and to your point, that's just one league. There's pickup with women that play certain days. That's not happening in New Jersey where we're from. It's just a different place. I'm playing a sport how many times a week here?
Yes.
I play football, I play basketball, I play softball, I was playing kickball. It's just not the same back home.
That's also living in a city, right? Like
True.
we're from the suburbs. So I think also the distinction is that neither of us are ready for suburb life.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And that might be even more of a distinction than Colorado and New Jersey is we are not built for the suburbs.
Yeah, at least at this point in our life.
I know, not yet. Everything changes and it's good that things change, but yeah, we're not quite ready.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the highlight reel for this week. Danielle, what do you have for us?
I'm going to talk about the WNBA this week. I'm not happy to admit this. If you've listened a few weeks back, Carolyn and I finally declared our WNBA teams because this has been an ongoing issue in our household.
It's June and it was our coming out party of what team we are going to support. It actually happened in May. But
yeah. So Carolyn is an Atlanta Dream fan now and I'm a Seattle Storm fan. And these two teams played last Friday. And unfortunately for me, the Atlanta Dream won 94-87. So this was a really close game. The thing that really angers me about this game is the Dream. They were down 17 points at the beginning of the third quarter. Come on, Seattle. You blew this game. How are you up 17 points at the beginning of the third quarter after halftime and you let that lead slip?
Seattle held down the Dream in the first half.
The Dream only had 34 points in the first half. Between their shooting and the Seattle Storm defense, Seattle had them. Only 34 points. That's so low scoring. But in the third quarter alone, they gave up 29 points. And then in the fourth quarter, the Dream scored 31 points. So they scored 34 points in the first half and 60 points in the second half. Some key players to shout out here, Alyssa Gray and Ryan Howard, your favorite, combined for 61 points, and they had 28 and 33 points respectively. That is a huge game for both of these players.
They work so well together. They are friends, so that makes a huge difference. Alyssa Gray, she puts up numbers. She is so consistent. Ryan Howard, I think, is a little bit more streaky, and you know I love Ryan Howard, but that's just how I feel. And when they get working together, I don't know. I just have some big hopes for this Atlanta team.
Yeah, no, I think they could really string a lot of things together. Another interesting stat is the Dream scored 7 and 1s in the second half of this game, and that is the most in a half in WNBA history.
Okay, so explain to our listeners who may not know what an and one is.
I can do that. It's funny because I played basketball my whole life. So when there's sports that we don't really know the rules, we're looking into it. But I'm like, oh yeah, some people might not know what that is. So an and one is when the offensive player has the ball. And a lot of the times it happens on the layup just because you're getting fouled on layup. But it could happen anywhere on the court. So if the offensive player with the ball shoots the ball and makes a basket and gets fouled on the shot, then they get an additional foul shot, which is the and one. Yeah. So the only way you could get an and one is if you score the basket and get fouled at the same time.
Were you one of those players that loved to scream and one when the ball didn't go in and you didn't get fouled?
No, I never did that. I really don't think I've ever done that. Did you?
No, please. They were never going in. No, I was the one doing the fouling. I got a lot of and one scored on me. Actually, no. What I will say is when I fouled someone, I fouled them hard that they were not able to score. And I want to say that and ones are just soul crushing for the defensive team because not only do you get a personal foul and a team foul on your team, also they get the 2 points and then get an opportunity to make it a 3-point play.
Or a 4-point play if it's on a 3-point shot.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's rough.
It is soul crushing. And for the other team, like for the Atlanta Dream, it's like a battery pack in your back.
I agree. For the Storm, Skylar Diggins led the way with 20 points. With this win, the Atlanta Dream is on a win streak of 4 games. The start of the WNBA season has been exciting.
The Atlanta Dream and the Seattle Storm play 3 more times.
Crazy.
So the Atlanta Dream are up 1-0. Should we be doing some kind of bet, some kind of wager?
Yes, I think we should.
Okay. What is it like that you love that I do for you? Is there something, or do you have an idea on what the bet could be?
So I have 2 things that I was going towards. One is a nice cooked meal of my choice.
Of your choice.
My other idea was a foot massage, but a long foot massage.
How long?
Like 20 minutes.
Okay, 20-minute foot massage or a cooked meal of your choice. What would you want me to cook for you? Because that is dicey when you get to me in the kitchen. I'm not like the best in there, but I do follow directions well.
I would want to look up a recipe. I don't know off the top of my head. I would have to look something up that I would want you to cook.
And you would let me do that in the kitchen without stepping in and micromanaging the whole time. Because that's what happens currently. I'll be like, no, I've got this. And then you're like, no, that needs to be cut smaller or add more salt or whatever you do in there.
Yeah, that would be tough. I'd have to maybe have a nice drink and
leave the kitchen.
Go outside on our nice patio with our nice lawn and hang out there with Scout.
All right. Well, it's not happening anyway.
What would you want from me if your dream were to win this series?
If my dream happened and the dream won, a massage would be great. But I don't know why. This is just today. Ask me tomorrow. It might be a different answer. I really want pasta. I want some good pasta. So that is what I would ask you to make me.
Which is funny because I do all the cooking in our house. So the fact that you're asking me to cook you a meal is just like, sure.
It's what you do anyway.
That's all you want?
Yeah. Or I'll send you a pair of shoes that I want.
I do that too. I told you I have to stop enabling your shoe obsession.
I know. I got to stop with the shoes. But, I'm back in the office a lot now and I refuse to wear flats. So now all I wear are Nikes. So I need to feed the obsession.
You have more than one pair per day per week. So I don't think you need any more shoes.
I know, but...
Well, we have to think about this more. And
okay.
I think the next episode we should come with a clear bet so that when the series is all said and done, we can come back and do it.
Okay, I thought of one.
What?
I want you to do a TikTok dance for all of our followers.
Oh, wow. Okay. Skylar Diggins, I'm going to call you up and have a convo because we need to win this series.
Yeah, that's it. I want a TikTok dance from you, just you, and I want you going all out in it.
All right.
To post to our social media.
Oh, boy. All right. So that's the WNBA highlight this week. What do you have for us, Car?
The U.S. women's national team played this past weekend. They played China in Minnesota and beat them 3-0. Want to highlight a few things. Naomi Girma is back. She played in her first game in 2025 for the U.S. women's national team in this match. And I want to also highlight some notable starts. So Lily Johannes is in the midfield and she started this game. This is her 7th cap. It was her 4th start. And we've talked about Lily Johannes before. She puts the ball exactly where she wants to put it. There was a play where Lindsay Heaps did not score, but it was a corner kick and it was like this clearly drawn up play. And it was like the person who kicked it to one person. Then they kicked it to Lily Johannes and she was the one who was finding Lindsay Heaps, not her hand, Lindsay Heaps' head and just found it perfectly. Mm-hmm. It didn't go in and Lindsay Heaps was offside anyway, but I was like, how does she do that? And I've said this before that the U.S. women's national team has a midfield problem. And I think Lily Johannes is the answer to that problem. And also the U.S. women's national team gave everyone an early pride gift by not having Corbin Albert on the roster. So
wow. There you go.
And that's really all I'm going to say about that because we have more fun people to talk about. Fallon Tullos-Joyce was in the goal. This was her 2nd cap and she plays for Manchester United. And I do think she is your next U.S. women's national team goalkeeper.
Ooh,
way too early
this
prediction.
Is exciting.
But I do think she's got the stuff. So I'm excited for her. Had a shutout in this match. And then Michelle Cooper, who plays for the KC Current, earned her 5th cap and her 2nd start in this match and played incredibly well. So let's talk about some of these goals. Kat Macario scored the first goal in the 27th minute. It was a great ball across from Michelle Cooper. You're going to hear me say that more than once. Michelle Cooper delivered it to Alyssa Thompson. Alyssa Thompson had a shot. It didn't go in. She had another shot. It didn't go in. Kat Macario picks up the rebound, slides it right into the goal. The U.S. dominated this match. They were in full control. And then Sam Coffey scored the 2nd goal in the 35th minute on a great cross from Alyssa Thompson, who got it to Kat Macario. And Kat Macario really did the one extra pass that happens in basketball. She could have shot it. Sam Coffey was more open. She passed it to Sam Coffey. Sam Coffey does a 6 shot. They're up 2-0. And then the third goal, Michelle Cooper has a great cross, finds Lindsay Heaps on the head this time, and scores for the third and final goal of this match. I also want to just highlight one other thing, that Lola Bonta, who plays for the KC Current, became the oldest player to make her international debut when she entered this game as a sub. She's old. She's 32.
Stop. That's my age.
But we love Lola Bonta for many reasons, but she is the celly queen. She scores, and the celebrations are always really well thought out. She has been up in the air before. She has pretend that her back is hurt and then has twerked it out a little bit. Obviously, she has a really good sense of humor. So there's a quote from her after this match where she said, "When they called my name, I was sitting, being the best cheerleader I could be on the bench." And I was like, this is amazing. I've never been field view watching the national team. It was so cool. And then she said, and then they were like, "Lo, go." And I was like, "Go where?" And then she went into the match, which is just very cool because she was just happy to be there. So well deserved for her. The U.S. women's national team played Jamaica yesterday, and they will play Ireland in a pair of friendlies beginning on June 26th at 9 p.m. Eastern time.
That's awesome. All right, we are going to get into an ad for ourselves. Please rate and subscribe to our podcast. We are small and growing and want to keep doing this. So if you like this podcast, we don't ask you to pay, but we would ask you to rate, subscribe, and share. Even if you share with one other person, that goes a long way for us. So we would appreciate that. We create, produce, and edit the podcast ourselves. So if you want to support us, again, go on Spotify, go on Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen, rate, subscribe, give a positive review. If you give us a review and screenshot and send it to us, we will also send you a sticker.
5-star reviews only.
5-star reviews only for a sticker, and we will send you the sticker for free. Thank you for all of those out there who already are subscribed and have rated and given us 5 stars. It means a lot to us, and we just love our listeners. So thank you.
The amount of time that it takes is a very small amount of time, but it means so much to us and helps us get in front of more people. So please go ahead and do that. All right, let's get into what we're looking forward to this week. I'm looking forward to the semifinals of the French Open, Roland Garros. The French Open rolls on this Thursday. The times of these matches are always a little bit different because of the time change, so keep an eye out for that. But 4 Americans successfully made it to the 4th round. Coco Gauff, who's currently ranked number 2, Jess Pegula, who's currently ranked number 3, Madison Keys, who's currently ranked number 8, and Haley Baptiste. So hoping that they can make it into the semifinal round, but not all of them will be making it because Madison Keys and Haley Baptiste will play against each other by the time this comes out. Can you guess the number 1 seed overall? Did you see it?
Does their coach have a tiger tattoo on their head when this person plays?
He does, and she actually has a tiger tattoo. You know,
I love
that,
right? Where is it again?
It's on her forearm.
I got to take a look at it on socials.
Would you like to say her name?
I forget how to say her first name.
Arina
Sabalenka.
Yes, she's currently ranked number 1. We'll see how she does in this French Open, but honestly, I also have got some problems with the French Open. So this past week, we were back in New Jersey, and I was watching a lot of the French Open, and my mom has regular cable, so we're not streaming at all, which is what we do in our house. And it was on TNT and TBS and HBO Max, so I was scrolling through TNT, TBS, and True TV it was on. All of the matches during the day were only the men.
Yeah. That's
all day.
BS.
And when I did a little bit more research, I found that because of the time change, in the earlier rounds, there were no night matches for the women, which means in the US, you don't get to see the women play during the day, which is when we watch in the US. And that is such bullshit and so frustrating. There have been some comments, I don't know exactly who it was, but they're involved in the French Open in some way in like the operations of it. and it's a woman, and she was saying the men are more marketable because their matches are longer. They're best of 5, not best of 3. And it's like, no, that's not it. And if you don't put the women on in prime time, no, people aren't going to watch. And it's just so frustrating to me that this conversation is still happening.
Yeah.
So anyway, French Open, be better. Please, 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 please play more of the women's matches. Put them in primetime spots, and don't make me have to go onto HBO Max to stream the women. I should be able to put it on my regular cable channel and be able to find a women's match to watch. But that's my little soapbox for the French Open. I will still be finding the women to watch because I want to support them and show that we do actually watch. But it is harder to do. And when you make it harder to do, less people are going to watch.
You should write a letter.
Ooh. You know I love a letter.
I know.
I'll get on
you
it.
You should write one.
What are you looking forward to this week?
So this week, the Women's College World Series begins today, June 4th at 8 p.m. Eastern. This will be the start of a best-of-3 series between Texas versus Texas Tech. These are going to be some great games, so tune in. I am so excited to watch this series.
Same. That is it for this week. We will see you next week on Women's Sports Weekly. In the meantime, watch women's sports and share the podcast with your friends. Rate and subscribe to the pod on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Thank you for joining us.